Hey crew, it's Pitt and I'm back with some more Esoterica. Today we are diving back into Gods and Fighting Men by Lady Gregory. We are reading aloud and discussing as we go along the various points that are brought to light by the text. It is not the format for everyone, but some people seem to find enjoyment in it, so you are more than welcome to tag along as we continue our exploration. Before we begin, however, if you are unfamiliar with me, any of my unconventional beliefs, or if at any point in time I lose you in terminology, there will be several playlists linked in the corner above, in the box down below, along with the original source material so that you can get a better understanding of me and why I say the things that I do. This study so far, I have not had a whole lot to add. It is merely a reading aloud of the account, so you are more than welcome to tag along for that as well. Let's dive in and continue our exploration of Gods and Fighting Men by Lady Gregory with Part 1, Book 4, His Call to Bran.
And there was some that went to Manannan's country beyond the sea, and they gave an account of it afterwards. One time Bran, son of Feeble, was out by himself near his dun, and he heard music behind him, and it kept always after him, and at last he fell asleep with the sweetness of the sound. And when he awoke from his sleep, he saw beside him a branch of silver, and it having white blossoms, and the whiteness of the silver was the same as the whiteness of the blossoms. And he brought the branch in his hand into the royal house, and when all his people were with him, they saw a woman with strange clothing standing in the house. And she began,
All right, I might have to bring it up. And she began to make a song for Bran, and all the people were looking at her and listening to her, and it is what she said. I bring a branch from the apple tree from Imhain, from the far island around which are the shining horses of the son of Lear. A delight of the eyes is the plain where the host hold their games, Curragh racing against chariot in the white silver plain to the south. There are feet of white bronze under it, shining through life and time, a comely level land through the length of the world's age, and many blossoms falling on it. There is an old tree there with blossoms and birds calling from among them. Every colour is shining there, delight is common, and music, in the gentle-voiced plain, and in the silver cloud plain to the south. Keening is not used, or treachery, in the tilled familiar land. There is nothing hard or rough, but sweet music striking out to the ear. To be without grief, without sorrow, without death, without any sickness, without weakness, that is the sign of Imhain. It is not common wonder that is. There is nothing to liken the mist to. The sea washes the wave against the land, brightness falls from its hair. There are riches, there are treasures of every colour in the gentle land, the bountiful land, sweet music to be listening to, the best of wine to drink. I did not expect this quotation to go on this long. I've tried to keep it a little bit different and change my voice. It is not, I don't know the names, I don't have the Gaelic dialect, I'm just trying to make it interesting. So, golden chariots in the plain of the sea, rising up to the sun with the tide, silver chariots and bronze chariots of the plain of sports, gold yellow horses on the strand, and crimson horses, and others with wool on their backs, blue like the colour of the sky. It is a day of lasting weather. Silver is dropping on the land, a pure white cliff on the edge of the sea, getting its warmth from the sun. That sounds like Dover, right? Pure white cliff. The host race over the plain of sports. It is beautiful and not weak that a game is. Death or the ebbing of the tide will not come to them in the many-coloured land. There will come at sunrise a fair man, lighting up the level lands. He rides upon the plain that is beaten by the waves. He stirs the blood, sea till it is like blood. An army will come over the clear sea, rowing to the stone that is in sight, that 100 sounds of music come from. It sings a song to the army. 'Tis not sad, though the length of the time. It increases music with hundreds singing together. They do not look for the death or the ebb tide. There are 3 times 50 far islands in the ocean to the west of us, and every one of them is twice or 3 times more than Ireland. Really, it is not to all of you I am speaking, though I have made all these wonders known. Let Bran listen from the crowd of the world to all the wisdom that has been told to him. Do not fall upon a bed of sloth. Do not be overcome by drunkenness. Set out on your voyage over the clear sea, and you may chance to come to the land of women. With that, the woman went away from them, and they did not know where she went. And she brought away her branch with her, for it leaped into her hand from Bran's hand, and he had not the strength to hold it. Then, on the morrow, Bran set out upon the sea, and 3 companies of 9 along with him, and one of his foster brothers and comrades was set over each company of 9. And when they had been rowing for 2 days and 2 nights, they saw a man coming towards them in a chariot over the sea, and the man made himself known to them. He said that he was Manannan, son of Lear. And then Manannan spoke to him in a song, and it is what he said.
It is what Bran thinks. He is going in his cutter over the wonderful blue, beautiful clear sea. But to me, far off in my chariot, it is a flowery plain he is riding on. What is clear sea to the good boat Bran is in, is a happy plain with many flowers to me in my 2-wheeled chariot. It is what Bran sees, many waves beating across the clear sea. It is what I myself see, red flowers without any fault. The sea horses are bright in summertime as far as Bran's eyes can reach. There is a wood of beautiful acorns under the head of your little boat. A wood with blossom
and with fruit, and that has the smell of wine, a wood without fault, without withering, with leaves of the color of gold. Let Bran row on steadily. It is not far to the land of women. Before the setting of the sun you will reach Imhane of many-colored hospitality. This is in part vocal therapy. My voice changes, like
this is my natural voice, but I'm still working on building up my stamina, so I swap between it sometimes. If that throws you off, I'm sorry. That I will apologize for.
But it is me trying to build the stamina to be able to talk
in my natural voice more. 6 months ago, I couldn't do this at all. And even as much as I'm doing it now is an improvement over what I had 3 months ago.
So again, if it bothers you, I'm sorry. But with that, Bran went from him, and after a while he saw an island, and he rode around it. And there was a crowd on it, wandering at them and laughing, and they were all looking at Bran and at his people, but they would not stop to talk with him, but went on giving out gusts of laughter. Bran put one of his men on the island then, but he joined with the others and began to stare the same way as the men of the island. And Bran went on rowing around the island, and whenever they went past his own man, his comrades would speak to him, but he would not answer them, but would only stare and wonder at them. And so they went away and left him on that island that is called the Island of Joy. And it was not long after that they reached the land of the women, and they saw the chief one of the women at the landing place, and it is what she said. Come hither to land, Bran, son of Feeble, and it is welcome your coming to us.
But Bran did not dare to go on shore. Then the woman threw a ball of thread straight to him, and he caught it in his hand and held it fast to his palm. And the woman kept the thread in her own hand, and she pulled the curragh to the landing place. On that they went into a grand house where there was a bed for every couple, 3 times 9 beds. And the food that was put on every dish never came to an end, and they had every sort of food and of drink they wished for.
And it seemed to them that they were only a year there when the desire of home took hold on one of them, Nectan, son of Colberin, and his kinsmen were begging and praying Bran to go back with them to Ireland. The woman said there would be repentance on them if they went, but in spite of that they sent out in the end. And the woman said to them not to touch the land when they would come to Ireland, and she bade them to visit, and to bring with them the man they left on the Island of Joy. So they went on towards Ireland till they came to a place called Strubrun, and there were people in the strand that asked them who they were that were coming over the sea. And Bran said, I am Bran, son of Thebel. And the people said, "We know of no such man, though the voyage of Bran is in our very old stories." Then Nectan, son of Colbran, made a leap out of the Curragh, and no sooner did he touch the shore of Ireland than he was a heap of ashes, the same as if he had been in the earth through hundreds of years. And then Bran told the whole story of his wanderings to the people from the beginning, and after that he bade them farewell, and his wanderings from that time are not known. He probably went back to the island. But Part 1, Book 4, his 3 calls to Cormac. And another that went to Manannan's country was Cormac, grandson of Conn, king of Timor. And this is the way it happened. He was by himself in Timor one time, and he saw an armed man coming towards him, quiet, with high looks and having gray hair, a short-ribbed with gold thread next to his skin, broad shoes of a white bronze between his feet on the ground, a shining branch having 9 apples of red gold on his shoulder. And it is delightful, the sound of that branch was, and no one on earth would keep in mind any want or trouble or tiredness when that branch was shaken for him. And whatever trouble there might be on him, he would forget it at the sound. And then Cormac and the armed man saluted one another, and Cormac asked where did he come from. "I come," he said, "from a country where there is nothing but truth, and where there is neither age, nor withering away, nor heaviness, nor sadness, nor jealousy, nor envy, nor pride." "That is not so with us," said Cormac, "and I would be well pleased to have your friendship," he said. "And I am well pleased to give it," said the stranger. "Well, give me your branch along with it," said Connacht. "I will give it," said the stranger, "if you will give me the 3 gifts I ask in return." "I will give them to you indeed," said Cormac. And then the strange man left the branch and went away, and Cormac did not know where he was gone to. He went back, then, into the royal house, and there was a wonder on all the people when they saw the branch, and he shook it at them, and it put them all asleep from that day to the same time on the morrow. At the end of the year a strange man came back again, and he asked for the first of his 3 requests. "You will get it," said Cormac. "I will take your daughter Ailill today," said the stranger. So he brought away the girl with him, and the women of Ireland gave 3 loud cries after the king's daughter. But Cormac shook the branch at them until it put away sorrow from them and put them all into their sleep. That month, the stranger came again, and he brought Cormac's son, Carpe Lifcar, away with him. And there was crying and lamenting without end in Timor after the boy, and on that night no one ate or slept, and they were all under grief and very downhearted. But when Cormac shook the branch, their sorrow went from them. And then the stranger came a 3rd time, and Cormac asked him what did he want. "It is your wife, Ethne, I am asking this time," he said, and he went away then, bringing Ethne, the queen, along with him. But Cormac would not bear that, and he went after them, and all his people were following him. But in the middle of the plain of the wall a thick mist came on them, and when it was gone, Cormac found himself alone on a great plain. And he saw a great dun in the middle of the plain, and a wall of bronze around it, and in the dun a house of white silver, and it half thatched with the white wings of birds. And there was a great troop of riders of the Seed, all about the house, and their arms full of white birds' wings for thatching. But as soon as they would put on the thatch, a blast of wind would come and carry it away again. Then he saw a man kindling a fire, and he used to throw a thick oak tree upon it, and when he would come back with the 2nd tree, the first one would be burned out. "I will be looking at you no longer," said Cormac then, "for there is no one here to tell me your story, and I think I could find good sense in your meanings if I understood them," he said. Then he went to where there was another dun, very large and royal, and another wall of bronze around it, and 4 houses within it. And he went in and saw a great king's house, having beams of bronze and walls of silver, and its thatch of the wings of white birds. And then he saw on the green a shining well, and 5 streams flowing from it, and the armies drinking water in turn, and the 9 lasting purple hazels of Bronn growing over it, and they were dropped they were dropping their nuts in the water, and the 5 salmon would catch them and send their husk floating down the streams. And the sound of the flowing of those streams is sweeter than any music that men sing. Then he went into the palace, and he found there waiting for him a man and a woman, very tall and having clothes of many colors. The man was beautiful as to shape, and his face wonderful to look at. And as to the young woman that was with him, she was the loveliest of all the women in the world, and she having yellow hair and a golden helmet. And there was a bath there, and heated stones going in and out of the water of themselves, and Cormac bathed himself in it. "Rise up, man of the house," the woman said after that, "for this is a comely traveler that has come to us, and if you have one kind of food or meat better than another, let it be brought in." The man rose up then, and he said,
I have but 7 pigs, but I could feed the whole world with them for the pig that is killed and eaten today. You will find it again alive again tomorrow.
Another man came into the house then, having an axe in his right hand and a log in his left hand, and a pig behind him. "It is time to make ready," said the man of the house,
For we have a high guest with us today.
Then the man struck the pig and killed it, and he cut the logs and made a fire and put the pig on it in a cauldron. "It is time for you to turn it," said the master of the house after a while. "There would be no use doing that," said the man, "for never and never will the pig be boiled until a truth is told for every quarter of it."
Then let you tell yours first, said the master of the house.
"One day," said the man, "I found another man's cows on my land, and I brought them with me into a cattle pound. The owner of the cows followed me, and he said he would give me a reward to let the cows go free. So I gave them back to him, and he gave me an axe. And when a pig is to be killed, it is with the axe it is killed. And the log is cut with it, and there is enough wood to boil the pig, and enough for the palace besides. And that is not all, for the log is found whole again in the morning, and from that time till now, that is the way they are."
It is true indeed, that story is,
said the man of the house. "They turned the pig in the cauldron then, and but 1/4 of it was found to be cooked." "Let us tell another true story," they said.
I will tell one, said the master of the house. Plowing time had come, and when we had a mind to plow that field outside, it is the way we found it, plowed and harrowed and sowed with wheat. When we had a mind to reap it, the wheat was found in the haggard, all in one thatched rick. We have been using it from that day to this, and it is no bigger and no less.
Then they turned the pig, and another quarter was found to be ready. "It is my turn now,"
said the woman.
"I have 7 cows," she said, "and 7 sheep, and the milk of the 7 cows would satisfy the whole of the men of the world if they were in the plain drinking it. And it is enough for all the people of the land of promise, and it is from the wool of the 7 sheep all the clothes they wear are made." And at that the story of the third quarter of the pig was boiled. "If these stories are true," said Cormac to the man of the house, "you are Manannan, and this is Manannan's wife, for no one in the whole ridge of the world owns these treasures but himself. It was to the land of promise he went to look for that woman, and he got those 7 cows with her." They said to Cormac that it was his turn now, so Cormac told him how his wife and his son and his daughter had been brought away from him, and how he himself had followed them till he came to that place. And with that the whole pig was boiled, and they cut it up, and Cormac's share was put before him. "I've never used a meal yet," said he, "having only 2 persons in my company." And the man of the house began singing to him then, and put him to sleep, and when he awoke he saw 50 armed men, and his son, and his wife, and his daughter along with him. There was great gladness and courage on him then, and ale and food were given out to them all. And there was a gold cup put in the hand of the master of the house, and Cormac was wondering at it for the numbers of the shapes on it, and for the strangeness of the work.
There is a stranger thing yet about it,
the man said. "Let 3 lying words be spoken under it, and it will break into 3, and then let 3 true words be spoken under it, and it will be as good as before. So he said 3 lying words under it, and it broke into 3 pieces. It is best to speak truth now under it, he said, and to mend it. And I give my word, Cormac, he said, that until today neither your wife or your daughter has seen the face of a man since they were brought away from you out of Temer, and that your son has never seen the face of a woman. And with that the cup was whole again, and on the moment. Bring away your wife and your children with you now, he said, and this cup along with them. The way you will have it for judging between truth and untruth, and I will leave this branch with you for music and delight. But on the day of your death they will be taken from you again. And I myself, he said, am Manannan, son of Lear, king of the land of promise, and I brought you here by the enchantments, that you might be with me tonight in friendship. And the riders you saw thatching the house, he said, are the men of arts and poets, and all that look for a fortune in Ireland, putting together cattle and riches. And when they go out, all that they leave in their houses go to nothing, and so they go on forever. And the man you saw kindling the fire, he said, is a young lord that is more liberal than he can afford, and everyone else is served while he is getting the feast ready, and everyone else profiting by it. And the well you saw is the well of knowledge, and the streams are the 5 streams which all knowledge goes. And no one will have knowledge who does not drink a draught out of the well itself or out of the streams. And the people of many arts are those who drink from them all. And on the morning of the morrow, when Cormac rose up, he found himself on the green of Temer, and his wife and his son and his daughter along with him, and he having his branch and his cup. And it was given the name of Cormac's cup, and it was used to judge between truth and falsehood among the Gael. But it was not left in Ireland after the night of Cormac's death, as Manannan had foretold him. That's going to bring us to part 1, book 4, Cleodna's Wave. And it was in the time of the Fianna in Ireland, that Siban, of the curling hair, the king of Ulster's son, went to Manannan's country. Siban now was the most beautiful of the young men of the world at that time, and he was far beyond all the other king's sons as the moon is beyond the stars. And Finn liked him well, but the rest of the Fianna got to be tired of him because there was not a woman of their women, wed or unwed, but gave him her love. And Finn had to send him away at last, for he was in dread of the men of the Fianna because of the greatness of their jealousy. So Siban went on till he came to the strand of the cairn, that is now called the strand of the strong men, between Dun Sabarch and the sea. And there he saw a curragh, and it having a narrow stern of copper. And Siban got into the curragh, and his people said, Is it to leave Ireland you have a mind, Siban? It is indeed, he said, for in Ireland I get neither shelter nor protection. He bade farewell to his people then, and he left them very sorrowful after him, for to part with him was like the parting of life from the body. And Siban went on in the curragh, and a great white shouting wave rose up about him, every one of them the size of a mountain, and a beautiful speckled salmon that are used to stop in the sand, and the shingle rose up to the sides of the curragh, till great dread came on Siban, and he said, By my word, if it was on land I could make a better fight for myself. And he was in this danger till he saw a rider coming towards him on a dark grey horse, having a golden bridle, and he would be under the sea for the length of 9 waves, and he would rise with the 10th wave, and no wet on him at all. And he said,
What reward would you give to whoever could bring you out of this great danger?
Is there anything in my hand worth offering you? Said Siban.
There is, said the rider, that you would give your service to whoever would give you his help.
Siban agreed to that, and he put his hand into the rider's hand. With that, the rider drew him onto the horse, and the curragh came on beside them till they reached to the shore of Tir Teirngare, the land of promise. They got off of the horse there and came to Loch Lucra, the lake of the dwarves, and to Manannan city, and a feast was after being made ready there, and comely serving boys were going around with smooth horns and playing on sweet-sounding harps, till the whole house was filled with the music. Then there came in clowns, long-snouted, long-heeled, lean and bald and red, that used to be doing tricks in Manannan's house. And one of these tricks was a man of them to take 9 straight willow rods and throw them up to the rafters of the house and catch them again as they came down, and he standing on one leg and having but one hand free. And they thought no one could do that trick but themselves, and they were used to ask strangers to do it, the way they could see them fail. So this night, when one of them had done the trick, he came up to Saban, and that was beyond all men of the day, or the sons of the Gael that were in the house in shape and in walk and in name, and put the 9 rods in his hand. And Seven stood up, and he did the feat before them all, the same as if he had never learned to do any other thing. Now Gaban, who was a chief druid in Manannan's country, had a daughter, Cleodna of the fair hair, that had never given her love to any man. But when she saw Stephen, she gave him her love, and she agreed to go away with him on the morrow. And they went down to the landing place and got into the Acura, and they went on till they came to Tiete's stand in the southern part of Ireland. It was from Tiet Breck, the freckled, the strand got its name, that went there one time for a wave game, and 3 times 50 young girls with her, and they were all drowned in that place. And as to Stephen, he came on shore and went looking for a deer, and was right under the thick branches of the wood, and he left the young girl on the boat in the strand. But the people of Manannan's house came after them, having 40 ships, and Itchinu, that was in the Curragh with Cleodna, did treachery, and he played music on to her till she lay down in the boat and fell asleep. And then a great wave came up on the strand and swept her away. And the wave got its name from Cleodna of the fair hair, that will be long remembered. And that brings us to Part 1, Book 4, Call to Conla. And it was likely that it was Manannan that sent his messenger for Conla of the red hair, the time he went away out of Ireland, for it is to his country Conla was brought, and this is the way he got the call. It chanced one day he was with his father, Con, king of Timor, on the hill of Ushnik, and he saw a woman having wonderful clothing coming towards him. "Where is it you come from?" he asked her. "I come," she said, "from Tir Nambil, the land of the ever-living ones, when no death comes. We use feasts that are lasting," she said, "and we do every kind thing without quarreling, and we are called the people of the seed." "Who are you speaking to, boy?" said Con to him then, for no one saw the strange woman but only Conla. "He is speaking to a high woman that death or old age will never come to," she said. "I am asking him to come to Magnell, the pleasant plain, where the triumphant king is living, and there he will be a king forever, without sorrow or fret. Come with me, Conla of the red hair," she said, "of the fair freckled neck and of the ruddy cheek. Come with me, and your body will not wither from its youth and its comeliness forever." They could all hear the woman's words then, though they could not see her, and it is what Con said to Corin, his druid. "Help me, Corin, that you that sing spells of the great arts. There is an attack made on me that is beyond my wisdom and beyond my power. I never knew so strong an attack since the first day I was a king. There is an unseen figure fighting with me. She is using all her strength against me to bring away my beautiful son. The call of a woman is bringing him away from the hands of the king." Then Coran, the druid, began singing spells against the woman of the seed, the way no one would hear her voice, and Conla could not see her any more. But when she was being driven away by the spells of the druid, she threw an apple at Conla. And through the length of a month from that time, Conla used no other food or drink but that apple, for he thought no other food or drink worth the using. And for all he ate of it, the apple grew no smaller, but was whole all the while, and there was great trouble on Conla on account of the woman he had seen. And at the end of a month, Conla was at his father's side in Archcomenin, and he saw the same woman coming towards him, and it is what she said. It is a high place indeed Conla has among dying people, and death before him. But the ever-living ones, she said, are asking you to take the sway over the people of Tethra, for they are looking at you every day in the gatherings of your country among your dear friends. When Khan, the king, heard her voice, he said to his people, Call Koran, the druid, to me, for I hear the sound of the woman's voice again. But on that she said, O Khan, fighter of 100, it is little love and little respect the wonderful tribes of Tregmor, the great strand, have for druids, and where its law comes, it scatters the spells on their lips. Then Khan looked to his son Conla to see what he would say, and Conla said, My own people are dearer to me than any other thing, yet sorrow has taken a hold of me because of this woman. And then the woman spoke to him again, and it is what she said, Come now into my shining ship. If you will come to the plain of victory, there is another country it would not be worse for you to look for. Though the bright sun is going down, we shall reach to that country before night. That is the country that delights the mind of everyone that turns to me. There is no living race in it, but women and girls only. And when the woman had ended her song, Conla made a leap from his people into the shining boat, and they saw him sailing away from them, far off and as if in a mist, as far as their eyes could see. It is away across the sea they went, and they have never come back again, and only the gods know where it was they went. And that is going to bring us to the end of this particular study. And we are only about halfway along where I would normally like to be, but the other three are longer than these, and so it would put us well past an hour, and I'm trying to keep them under an hour, so we're going to settle for 30 minutes today and 30 plus tomorrow. Again, I didn't have a whole lot to add to this, so hopefully I brought a little bit of enlightenment and not too much confusion to some difficult topics, right? This is mythology. It is something to be learned from, something to understand, but not really to believe wholeheartedly, right? There is no land of the women, right? There can be some spiritual land of the women that we don't have access to, but we don't have evidence of it, so again, take all of this with a grain of salt. It is important to understand the histories and to know the legends and the things of that nature, but not necessarily to take all of those things as truth. If you like what I'm doing over here, let me know down below. Give me a like, share, and a sub. Throw me a comment. Let me know if you agree or disagree with anything, or if there's any comments you would like to make. If it remains respectful, it gets to remain up. If there is another work you would like to see me work through in the manner that we are doing here, leave that in the comments as well. And if you really like what I'm doing, hit me with that super thanks, because the bills don't pay themselves. To the crew, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate every single minute that you are here with me, and I am praying for you every single day. Until next time, I love you. God loves you. You are perfect, whole, and complete just the way that you are. And this has been Pit Steak. Peace.